Hello, everyone. Welcome to English You Are, the place where English learning becomes simple, clear, and full of meaning. Today, we have a story for you. It's not just a story, it's a journey about change, growth, and personal development. If you want to improve your English and learn something that can change your life, stay with us until the end. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends. Your support helps us create more beautiful English stories for you. Let me ask you something. How many times have you said, "I'll start tomorrow"? Maybe you wanted to study English. Maybe you wanted to exercise. Or maybe you just wanted to change something in your life. But somehow, tomorrow never came. You woke up, felt tired, opened your phone, and told yourself, just 5 more minutes. And then the day was gone. Sounds familiar, right? Don't worry, you're not alone. We've all been there. Today, you'll meet Ethan. He was just like you, tired, unmotivated, and always waiting for the right time to start. But one day, Ethan discovered something powerful. Something small, but strong enough to change his entire life. That something is called self-discipline. And this story, his story, might just help you change your life too. So don't skip this one. Stay with us, listen slowly, and repeat after me when you can, because this story will not only improve your English, it will also help you grow. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy our story. The power of self-discipline. Ethan was 26 years old, and his life was a mess. Every morning, he woke up late. Every morning, he told himself, "I'll do better tomorrow." But tomorrow always looked the same. His small apartment was full of clothes on the floor, empty coffee cups, and unfinished work. He had dreams once, big dreams, but somehow, they got lost in the noise of every day. One Monday morning, Ethan's alarm rang at 7 a.m. He opened one eye, looked at the clock, and mumbled, "Just 5 more minutes." 5 minutes later, he was still sleeping. When he finally got up, it was almost 8:45. "Oh no! I'm late again," he shouted, jumping out of bed. He brushed his teeth in 30 seconds, spilled water on his shirt, and ran outside with one shoe untied. The bus had already left. He stood at the stop, breathing fast, feeling the same heavy frustration as always. It wasn't the first time. It wasn't even the 10th. When he arrived at the office, his boss was waiting. Mr. Hill was a tall man with gray hair and kind eyes. But today, his face looked serious. "Ethan," he said, "we need to talk." Ethan's stomach turned. He followed his boss into the office. Mr. Hill closed the door and said, "You're talented, Ethan. You really are. But you are never on time. You miss meetings, you forget deadlines, and your work is not what it could be." Ethan looked down. "I'm sorry, sir. I'll try harder." Mr. Hill sighed. "That's what you said last week. And the week before. Ethan, you need discipline. Without discipline, talent means nothing." Those words hit him hard, discipline. He nodded, but deep inside, he didn't understand. He always thought success was about being lucky, not being disciplined. But that day, he felt something break inside. Mr. Hill looked at him and said softly, "I'm going to give you 1 week off. Use it to think. Decide what kind of person you want to be." Ethan went home, feeling lost. He dropped his bag on the floor and looked around his messy apartment. For the first time, he saw it clearly. His life looked exactly like his room, chaotic, unfinished, full of excuses. He sat on the bed and opened his phone. On social media, everyone seemed to be doing great. New jobs, travel, happy pictures. He scrolled and scrolled, feeling smaller each second. Then, he saw a quote that stopped him. "Discipline is doing what you must do, even when you don't want to do it." He read it again. "Even when you don't want to." That was the part that hit him. He realized he never did things he didn't feel like doing. If he didn't feel like cleaning, he didn't clean. If he didn't feel like working, he didn't work. And that was the problem. His feelings controlled his life. That night, for the first time in months, Ethan didn't watch TV before bed. He just sat quietly, thinking about that quote. At 11 p.m., he made a small decision. He whispered, "Tomorrow, I'll wake up early. Just once. Let's see what happens." He set his alarm for 6:30 and turned off his phone. When the alarm rang the next morning, Ethan's first thought was, "No. Too early." His second thought was, "Wait, I promised myself." He sat up slowly, eyes half closed. He didn't want to get up. But he remembered the quote, "Even when you don't want to." He stood up, opened the window, and felt the cool morning air touch his face. It felt good, quiet, peaceful. He made his bed, brushed his teeth slowly, and looked around his room. It still looked messy, but something inside him felt different. He made a cup of coffee and sat at the table. The clock said 6:45. He laughed softly. "I've never seen this time before." He took a notebook and wrote, "Day 1, I woke up early. It was hard, but I did it." It was a small thing, but he felt proud. Over the next few days, Ethan kept waking up early. Not always at 6:30, sometimes 7 o'clock, sometimes 7:10. But he kept trying. Each morning, he wrote something new in his notebook. Day 2, I cleaned my room. Day 3, I made breakfast. Day 4, I read for 10 minutes. Some days he failed. Some mornings, he hit snooze again. But each time he failed, he didn't quit. He just said, "Tomorrow, I'll try again." Slowly, things began to change. His room stayed cleaner. He stopped rushing in the morning. He even started to smile at himself in the mirror. He wasn't perfect, but he was consistent. And that was new. One evening, his friend Mia came to visit. She looked around his apartment and said, "Wow, Ethan. What happened here? It's so clean." Ethan laughed. "Yeah, I've been working on myself." Mia smiled. "You look different too. More alive." He told her about his new routine, about the quote, and how he was learning to keep small promises to himself. Mia nodded. "That's amazing. You know, discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets." Ethan liked that idea, a discipline muscle. He wanted to make it stronger. That night, he wrote in his notebook again. "Discipline is not punishment. It's power." He looked at the sentence and smiled. For the first time in a long time, he believed it. That night, Ethan slept with a calm mind. When he woke up the next morning, something felt different. The room was bright, the air was fresh, and for the first time, he didn't feel angry at the alarm clock. He smiled and said softly, "Let's do it again." He made his bed, brushed his teeth, and brewed a small cup of coffee. He sat at his desk and looked at his notebook. On the first page, he saw his short notes, Day 1, Day 2, Day 3. He added a new line, Day 5, I woke up early again. I think I'm starting to like mornings. He looked at that sentence and smiled proudly. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. After finishing his coffee, Ethan went for a short walk. The city was still quiet, people were just beginning to leave their homes. He felt like he was part of something bigger, part of the world again. Before, he used to sleep through this moment every day. Now, he was awake. When he returned home, he felt ready to do something new. He sat down with his laptop and opened an online course about productivity and habits. The teacher on the screen said, "Discipline is not about being strict. It's about choosing what matters most, every day." Those words stayed in Ethan's mind. He repeated them quietly, choosing what matters most. The next few days, Ethan created a small morning routine. Wake up at 6:30. Make the bed. Stretch for 5 minutes. Drink a glass of water. Write in the notebook. Simple things, but they made his day feel organized. When his environment was clean, his mind was clean too. One morning, while he was writing, he heard a knock on the door. It was his neighbor, Mr. Wilson, a kind old man from next door. Mr. Wilson said, "Ethan, I've noticed your lights are on early every day now. What changed?" Ethan laughed, a little embarrassed. "Yeah, I'm trying something new. I'm trying to be more disciplined." Mr. Wilson nodded slowly. "Good for you, son. You know, I used to wake up at 5 a.m. for 40 years. It's a habit that changes everything." Ethan smiled. "Really? 40 years? That's amazing." Mr. Wilson chuckled. "Discipline builds your future, one morning at a time. Keep it up." After he left, Ethan wrote in his notebook, "One morning at a time. That's how life changes." A week later, Ethan went back to work. When he entered the office, his coworkers were surprised. He looked more focused, more confident, even calmer. Mr. Hill looked at him and said, "Ethan, you're on time, early, actually." Ethan smiled. "Yes, sir. I'm trying something new." Mr. Hill nodded with a gentle smile. "Keep it up, Ethan. I'm happy to see this change." Ethan worked all day without complaining. He focused on one task at a time, checked his notes, and avoided distractions. For the first time in months, he finished all his work before 5 p.m. When he left the office, he felt proud. He didn't win a medal. He didn't get rich. But he finally felt in control of his life. That night, he wrote in his notebook, "Discipline makes me feel strong. Not because I am perfect, but because I try." Weeks passed. Ethan's small habits became part of his life. He no longer had to fight with himself to wake up early, it became natural. He exercised for 15 minutes every day, read 10 pages of a book, and spent time learning new things. One weekend, he visited his parents. His mother smiled when she saw him. "You look happy, Ethan. Healthier too." Ethan laughed. "Thanks, Mom. I'm just trying to live better." At dinner, his father asked, "So, son, what changed?" Ethan paused, thinking. Then he said, "I used to wait for motivation to do things. But now I understand, discipline comes first, and motivation follows. When I do what I must do, even when I don't want to, I start feeling proud. That feeling gives me energy to keep going." His father nodded with a smile. "That's true wisdom, Ethan." But life wasn't always smooth. There were days when Ethan felt tired again. Some mornings he hit the snooze button. Some evenings he skipped his workout. And every time that happened, a small voice inside his head whispered, "See? You're failing again." At first, he listened to that voice. He felt guilty, lazy, and weak. But one day, while walking home, he realized something important. He thought, self-discipline isn't about never failing. It's about not giving up after failing. That night, he wrote another note. "Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about starting again, every time I fall." From that moment, he stopped expecting perfection. He accepted that discipline was a journey, not a destination. One morning, while having breakfast, Ethan received an email. It was from Mr. Hill. He opened it nervously and read, "Ethan, we're launching a new project. I'd like you to lead a small team. You've shown great improvement and responsibility lately. Let's talk about it tomorrow." Ethan couldn't believe it. He read the email twice, then 3 times. He smiled, then laughed out loud. He whispered, This is because I didn't give up." The next day at work, he talked to Mr. Hill. His boss said warmly, "I've seen how much you've changed, Ethan. You show discipline and consistency. That's what real success looks like." Ethan shook his hand and said sincerely, "Thank you, sir. I'm still learning, but I'll give it my best." That night, when he got home, he turned on a small lamp and opened his notebook again. He wrote, "Discipline gave me control. Control gave me confidence. Confidence changed my life." He closed the notebook and looked around his clean, peaceful apartment. It felt like a different world from before. A few months later, Ethan's life looked completely new. He woke up early without an alarm. He managed his team successfully at work. He exercised regularly, read books, and even started helping others. One day, his friend Mia called him. "Ethan, you've changed so much. What's your secret?" Ethan smiled through the phone. "My secret? Simple habits, repeated every day. I used to wait for motivation. But now I just do what I must do." Mia laughed. "You sound like a teacher now." He laughed too. "Maybe. But I just want people to know it's possible. If I could change, anyone can." That night, Ethan went for a walk through the park. The sky was dark blue, and the stars were bright. He sat on a bench, feeling the cool breeze. He thought about who he used to be, lazy, lost, waiting for luck. And who he had become, calm, focused, proud of every small step. He whispered to himself, "Discipline didn't make my life easy. It made me strong enough to handle it." He smiled. Then he looked up at the stars and said softly, "Tomorrow will be another chance to grow." The next morning, he woke up before sunrise. He opened the window and looked at the soft pink sky. Birds were singing, the world was waking up. He took a deep breath and smiled. On his table, his notebook was waiting. He opened it to a new page and wrote, "Day 120, I'm grateful for this journey. Discipline taught me who I am. I will keep going, one morning at a time." He closed the notebook, made his coffee, and watched the sunlight fill his room. Everything was quiet, but inside, he felt alive. At the end of the day, Ethan turned on his small camera, the one he used to record short videos for himself. He pressed record and said slowly, "If anyone is listening, I just want to say, start small. You don't need to be perfect. You only need to begin. Discipline isn't about rules, it's about love. Love for your future self." He smiled at the camera. So, if you're struggling like I was, don't give up. Wake up tomorrow, make your bed, do one good thing. And keep doing it, again and again. Your life will change, just like mine. He turned off the camera and looked around. The apartment was still simple. But to Ethan, it was full of light. He whispered one last time, "Thank you, self-discipline." Then he smiled. Because for the first time, he wasn't just living a day. He was living a purpose. And that's it for today's story, everyone. Party Popper. I hope you enjoyed listening, learned some new English words, and most importantly, felt inspired to be a little more disciplined every day. Remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to begin, today, not tomorrow. If you liked this story, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to English UR, and share this video with your friends who also want to learn English the easy and fun way. We post new English learning stories every week, full of simple words, real-life lessons, and a lot of inspiration. So stay tuned, because in our next episode, we'll talk about overcoming laziness, the secret to staying motivated. You don't want to miss that one. Thank you for watching and listening with us. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.